Hey guys, I'm live streaming too. I'll just record this. I keep forgetting to go live stream when I'm trading. I think it's because I don't really have a bunch of followers and it's not as engaging, I guess. Um, but today was a great day again for trading. A lot of people are asking me about the market, whether they should short it here, and uh, fundamentally, I think we're kind of in a little bit of a bubble, especially in certain sectors of the market. Um, but I've always said, don't try to trade sane in an insane market. So I'm certainly not going to try to trade sanely in a market that's not trading sane. Um, so if the crazies are going to keep buying the dips, then I don't want to go against the grain. I'd rather if the market pulls back, I'll kind of play along with that theme until that psychology changes, and I haven't seen that change yet. But when it does, I'm willing to flip over and go bearish. Um, from a technical perspective. Today's stock of the day was Acrs up 220%. But so typical intraday, this was a great trading stock. And I do bracket trades, usually 500 shares. And I just do 15 by 30s, so 15 cent stop, 30 cent sell. But in stocks like this, I can kind of pull the sell orders up and just keep my stops if I'm pretty accurate. And you could just see this kept bull flagging, and I'll show you what I was walking through, what I thought was cool about this stock today, and it was kind of predictable. But on another screen, I have my MACDs and my RSI, etc., and some other McClellan oscillators and the things that I look at. But every time we broke a candle body bull flag, it was worth a scalp to the upside. These are nice moves. I mean, there's a move from 14 there to 1649. So I'm not looking to capture the entire move, but this thing was moving so quickly that you're getting 1 and 2 point moves within a minute. So you can kind of see when I say body, I'm not talking wicks and tails, but once the body started to break above to the upside there in this wedge, you can see the MACD crossover as well, and those are where I'm buying at, and then I'm just putting my regular stop like I do the 15 cent stop, and then any type of a pullback like that is probably getting me out as I start to move that stop up there with me. Here's another one again. You can kind of see a little bit of agitation, then this little pullback there, then a pull back up again, and now we're creating some shape, right? And then once we blow through there again, on the other screen, you can probably see the MACD. I don't have it on this screen. Another move again. And when things started to get a little bit sketchy on this stock was when we started to get into this fourth leg here. So we have this first leg up, second leg, third. And this fourth leg didn't have a lot of power to it. And what I mean by that is the volume on the high end started to depreciate a little bit. And then you had a kind of a trajectory change, meaning that this leg here up was there, a nice leg up there from a high of 1470 up to 1630. And then this another leg up was incrementally substantially higher. Then this other leg up was incrementally. And then this one was just a little bit higher, and you started to kind of roll. So you have this kind of rolling top here. Hey, what's up, Jason Johnson? So you have this kind of a rolling top here, and then that's where I stopped chasing it. And another thing that I look at when I'm trading stocks is if I'm looking at the 1 year daily, and I'm looking at, I usually break it down hourly, daily. I can even do 20 minutes and kind of see, how bad is a stock overbought on the daily, because that's gonna really determine how high I want to go on my intraday. And this thing got above the infamous 90, which is don't chase. So I had no interest in this thing when it got above 19. I can't remember where it was at in the 5 year. Yeah, in the 5 year, literally, that's another thing too. A 5 year literally back to the pivot break. And what I mean by the pivot break was this kind of a casual move up here, grind. And that was the last area before this huge pullback. Hang on, let me just message somebody. That was the last area before this huge pullback. So that's certainly an area that we don't want to be chasing. And if you kind of pull it over there, anything above that area there is like no touch. So you can see the pivot break candle there. If we zoom in, we're right on that pivot break candle top, and you can see there the top on that candle. If you look at my little window, there is 1986. Right here, you can look and see the top of that candle, and that's the last candle before this thing really came undone. And then the high for the day over here was probably pretty close. I don't know if my line's straight or not, but if we scroll over to the right, you can probably see that we're pretty damn close to the high of the day, which over here was 1995. So we're not going to split hairs, but you get the idea. So that's when it became a little bit suspect, and I wanted no part of it after that point. But I will say that it had some more trades left in it. And what I look at is once we start a downward trend, when does the shape of the downward trend finally change shape? So, I'm not going to chase it up there, but it did have some more trades left in it, quite a few trades. This stock alone, got me about $1,300 for the day. But if we zoom in here, and you can see, if we kind of draw a trend line pivot here from the breakdown candle, which was within this time frame here, right? We're still on an uptrend. This is your pivot break candle, and we cross that over here, and then once again we do have another bull flag break here, and then a pop again, and we kind of pull back. And that move there was really interesting, that we were able to pull back, bounce, pull back, bounce, pull back, and hit here and then go that way. So it showed me that the stock did have the ability to go higher. So now I can kind of play the dips off of these low pivot point areas, which you can see across here. I don't know how many lines I'm going to draw here. It looked interesting along here. Took another trade in it, and I can just continue to trade along that line. I didn't mess with it after hours, and I'm totally out of it. But I did one more trade in here. But these are a lot of directional change breaks. You can kind of see here, little bull flags breaking. It was a great stock to trade throughout the day. Another one that I was trading, I trade this thing is a moneymaker too, Plug, every day. And you can kind of see the lines that I'm drawing a Plug. I actually shorted Plug because Plug was, first of all, I went long because it started to channel. And I was actually surprised that it was able to get back above this area here at 65. I thought that the high was in for the day at 66.20. And that was just based on the 1 year daily. This stock is strong, Plug. I had no interest in holding it and buying it, holding it. But the idea that it can make a double top after this huge pullback and breaking to a lower low within the daily candle was pretty impressive. So I'd had to give it that, at least, that it could make a double top within that candle there, which was 68.55. So interesting moves on Plug. The one part that I did go long was this directional change right here. When it pulled back, I had so once again, I know that it can, has the potential to go higher. If we're going to continue in a downward trajectory, we'll probably bounce right here and then continue down. So I started making a little bit of a wedge here. The first one was the yellow one that broke, which was pretty impressive. Then we back tested that, took off to the upside. I started to sell shares in here, but then they continued. I was small position after that. But up in here is where things got interesting for the short. And this little head fake right in here, let me see if I can zoom in on it, is where I shorted it because it looked like it was going to go for another leg up. And I was actually surprised that this pivot retouch here, retouched right there. You can see it perfectly. Retouch here, and then it pushed through, and it looked to me like a false break. And I kind of figured it was, because if it was going to continue on, there's no way it would go down and retest the lower part of the channel line. So I hate to do this, but I shorted it right at support. And then if we cross over and look at the MACD, you can see, and it just started to come unraveled. So it was a nice confirmation to see it break through there. I didn't go for the head fake bounce little here and then move my stop. I stuck with my stop right at this level here, and we just continued it down and bouncing ball all the way down. I mean, that was a nice move from 67.40 to 66.20. I think I was in 300 short, but I did not catch the extent of the entire move there. I think I covered with this little break in here. It just started to get a little bit sketchy and whippy, and I know how this stock can be. So these are the kind of things I'm looking at tomorrow as well. I just got to remember to go on live stream. There's so much money to be made in this market. It's crazy. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to have some more volatility as well. I tried to take a position in Posh. I got stopped out. I only had a few losses for the day. Jivo was a heartbreaker because I've owned this stock when it was like $1. And I think this move is just about done here. You can tell this thing was 46 cents to $12. I mean, we've seen these over and over. I can't believe some of the moves that we've seen this year. Triple D. I mean, if you've been trading for a long time, who remembers trading this thing around $4 and $5 and just like being bored out of your mind, not doing anything, goes to 33. I mean, everywhere you look, there's a 10 bagger. I've never seen so many 10 baggers in my life. Nio, I've been shorting. Nio does not look healthy after going long. And then doing the secondary. I think they did a secondary offering. That's what really killed it. Fundamentally, super interesting company. But I do like BYDDF better for a longer term hold on the EV sector. BYDDF is my favorite. Believe it or not, nobody even knows about that one. Probably Boyd. So you might get a little bit of a retrace here in Nio, but Neo's kind of not like it used to be. I think the big move's done. Just for now. I mean, it doesn't mean it can't go higher in the future. And by no means is this pullback anything to be freaking out about. I did create my own channel on it, so I was trading off these little channel lines. But when we blew through the high on the news after the Neo day, I literally sold just by luck, I think. I just dumped my shares in the morning and got out, and I haven't really been back in except for intraday trading on Neo. I like Neo because it has a pretty decent sized float and there's not a lot of crazy whippy action in it where they'll take your shares on stops, but you can see what I'm looking at intraday. When I start to focus on the bottoming of Neo, I'm looking for like these shape changes in these channels start to form. You can kind of see we keep pulling back and then hitting and then pulling back and then hitting. It just looks weak, but it starts to create a wedge, and I draw from different pivot points right here. Even in pre-market I'll use, because I do think these are actual technical areas that we need to look at, and you can see how the channel creates right along here. Now I'm interested in Neo. I like the big volume washout. I like the hanging man candle there. It tells me that a lot of the people threw in the towel, so I want to see that. Now I'm kind of interested. My dog's going apeshit. Now I'm kind of interested in Neo once we start to get some shape change, which I do get that here in the yellow, I get it in the blue, and then I kind of get it in the red with the back test. So I want to feel safe buying these, I want to see like these little channel bottoms start to form after I've had confirmation. So we get a little bit of a W pattern there, a little reverse inverted head and shoulders, and then we move to the upside. So interesting moves on Neo. And then once again, I can create channels. These are always parallel channels that I use. And then once we start to kind of fade in, it might be another short. It could be a long wedge, but this is the kind of stuff I want to help people trade during the day, intraday. If my channel goes live, I just keep forgetting. But hopefully I can get maybe some more subscribers to kind of pique my interest up a little bit. SPY today was surprising. I actually came in short SPY and I covered. I actually did. This is my resistance levels. These work like a charm. There's 3 resistance levels. So if we start hitting those tomorrow, I will be shorting the S&P 500 intraday. I did not have a bottom target that was hit intraday. But you had a lot of little whippy action like I don't like to see in SPY. I did a little trade here to the long side, but then you go back and back test these areas and then you're failing. I mean, there's just too much indecision in the S&P 500. And you can kind of see how we bounce off these channel lines. We go retest. If we can't hold it, it literally becomes the top of the channel and starts to fade. And then we push back up, and what happens? I don't know if people are short. And then we go back and retest my line and then to the upside. So the most important thing for me in my trading is channel lines. My channel lines have to be super accurate. They're not always horizontal. They very rarely are. And they're not always on wicks and tails. Sometimes I look for directional changes within the body of the candle. But I'm also looking at MACDs and stuff like that when, if we're coming down to retest a channel area and we break through to the negative across the purple on the MACD, that might be a good area to short 400 shares at 377. And then you can kind of look for your RSI or your curl to where to cover at. I mean, you scalp enough $70, $80, $100 trades in a day and you can easily walk away with a couple $1,000s. I know there's a lot of traders out there that say they're making $15,000, $20,000 in a day, and it's pretty surprising because I've been doing this a long time and I'm pretty consistent, but I've never been able to make that kind of money in a day. But there are stocks out there like these crazy ones that we looked at today that, holy crap, I mean, literally if you just bought the open 13 and sold the high, which is easier said than done, you're 6 points. I mean, 1,000 shares, you're making $6,000 a day. I could see that some people are that good. I don't have the nads to be able to hold something through that entire move and just say, oh, based on the 1 year, I think it's going to hit 1985, so I'm going to buy 1,000 shares at $13 and hold it. So anyhow, look me up tomorrow. I'll probably be online in the morning. Hopefully, I'll get a few people on here if you guys have any questions or anything. Whether it's a buy and hold investment, just technicals to look at, any charts of any stocks you're interested, just let me know, and I will catch you guys later.